Welcome to Broomstones Curling Club in Wayland, Massachusetts, home of the 2023 Junior National Curling Championships. We are here for Draw 3 of the women's event. I'm Alex Leichter, and I'm joined by Connor Kaufman, runner-up of the 2021 and 2022 Junior Nationals events for the past two seasons, and competitor in the 2023 Men's U.S. Nationals. Connor, great to be here with you. How's it going?
It's going great. I'm actually coaching a team out here on the men's side this week. So just had one of those games against West Wayland. That was a pretty close game. And I'm excited to be up here for my first of hopefully many commentary appearances this week.
How's your team on the men's side doing?
So far on the men's side, they're 2-1. Lost a pretty close game today. Got a big 2-game day tomorrow. So boys are back at the Airbnb. Hopefully they're going to get some sleep and come out strong tomorrow.
That's a pretty good start. 2-1 at any national championship's always a great way to start. So we are here for the Johnson versus Scheel game. And as we have the standings up on the screen, you'll see that these are the two only remaining undefeated teams. So Allory Johnson and Miranda Scheel, both at 2-0. Bella Hagenbuck at 1-1. Julia Pekowitz, the local Broomstones team, at 1-1. Sophia Ryerchuk at 1-1. Claire View at 1-1. Gracia Berg at 0-2. And Kenna Ponzio at 0-2 as well. For the games tonight on sheet 1, Julia Pekowitz is playing Claire View. Allory Johnson and Miranda Scheel are on our feature sheet number 2. Kenna Ponzio and Sophia Ryerchuk are on sheet 3. Gracia Berg and Bella Hagenbuck are on sheet 4. Have you been able to get to watch any of the women's games this week, Connor?
I haven't watched very many of them live in person, but we've watched a few of them on TV on this stream when we were hanging out at the house. There's been a lot of good games. It's been fun to watch, just like any national championship. It's fun to watch the teams out here competing, and you get a lot of different scenarios, which is fun to pay attention to.
It's also pretty great to be able to watch all 4 games. So you can pick whatever game you want to watch. So just a reminder for all of you, if you want to watch any of the other sheets, all of the streams are available on the USA Curling YouTube page, thanks to Curling Stadium. We're here just finishing up the draw shot challenge, and that is a beautiful draw right to the button. And we'll, after the ice crew comes back on, we'll see which team ended up with hammer. So Connor, you played in a number of these. Any as you get past that first couple of games, what's it like? Sort of getting into the swing of things at a junior nationals.
Yeah, I've definitely been on both sides of the way you can get into the swing of things at these. My first junior nationals, we won 1 game, so I've been on that side, and that's obviously one way that you can start out, and it's not the nicest feeling. But I've also been on the other side, starting out 2-0, 3-0, and playing some really tight games against some good teams. What I've found through playing in these events is it's just important to get your feet under you early. The earlier you can figure out the ice, figure out the rocks, figure out how your team's throwing it that week, the better a chance you're going to have later in the week.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. Those first few games, it's all about getting settled in. I have you beat my first junior nationals. I was 0-1, so that 1 win probably felt pretty great. But so far the ice from the few games that I've watched has seemed quick and swingy, which is great to see. It allows for a lot of good shot making. So hopefully we see some tonight.
Yeah, so far we've seen just a beautiful surface. We're getting a ton of curl, but we're not sacrificing any speed to get that curl. And big shout out to the ice makers that are here this week for giving us such an amazing surface to play on.
Yeah, Dan Ostheimer and his crew.
Hi, Connor. Be nice to us.
Quickly, Connor got a few shout-outs from the mic'd-up athletes down below. But no, as a member here at Broomstones, we are spoiled by the ice that we get to play on every week. Dan Ostheimer, the head ice tech for Broomstones, and the head ice tech for this event is doing a very very good job every week and also here. And he's got a great team with him. I saw Sean Olsen here and a bunch of other people who are making this ice as good as possible. And the athletes are definitely lucky to have such a great team.
Watch out.
We have been doing like really hard on our LSDs. That's not normal for us.
I mean, we haven't had any through the house.
Yeah,
Not in. All of ours have been in.
Honestly, like, no. Not really. You've been good on your LSDs.
How has the speed of the ice been in the games that you've watched? Last night I was seeing close to sort of 15 seconds hog to hog, so timing from 15 seconds to 15 and a half even, timing from the near hog line to the far hog line. What have you been seeing coaching?
Yeah, that's right around where we're seeing it. In the middle of the games, 15 is almost too much. It's almost going back T-line. If you're off of it the entire way, usually it'll check up for you. But if you're just cleaning, you can get a 15 and a quarter to 15-15 to the T-line pretty easily. We've had a couple pretty big sweeps from our front-end guys this week that pulled a couple of 16 threes to the T-line, which is just blazing fast.
He's ugly.
Yeah, that is pretty great to hear. We definitely see some of that with the ice here, where if you put a broom down, you can make a huge difference. If you get adjusted to it and your sweepers are ready for it, they can wait a pretty good while on a stone and then really drag it near the end, which can make it easy on a thrower if your sweepers are good.
Most definitely. That's one of the big things that on the team I'm coaching that we've been talking about early in the week and that we're going to continue to harp on as the week goes on is just how long our sweepers can wait before they have to start sweeping these rocks. And I think that the guys have done a really good job of that so far, of being patient with the sweep call, letting the line work itself out, and then being able to finish rocks late. One of the things we've seen as well is that since we're getting a decent amount of curl, the amount of finish that we can kind of promote with these rocks sweeping for curl has been pretty noticeable. So we know we can get pretty wide around guards and still bury late.
That late curl is definitely something I've noticed too, and certainly that sweep ability is something that we've come to know at Broomstones, which is great to have, especially as your team adjusts to it and takes advantage of it. So we're getting close here. The ice crew has completed the pregame pop. Connor, do you want to go ahead and introduce the team lineups?
For sure. All right. So throwing the Red Rocks is going to be Team Johnson. Leading off for them is going to be Lily Olsen, with second Bailey Vadich, third Gianna Johnson, and skip Allory Johnson. On the other side of the ice, throwing Yellow Rocks for Team Scheel, lead Tessa Thurlow, second Jordan Hine, and skip Miranda Scheel.
And as we mentioned at the top, both of these teams are 2-0, so should be a really great matchup and could have meaningful implications for the standings at the end of the week.
Most definitely. The longer you can avoid that first loss, the happier you are going to be. So this is going to be a big game for both teams that are coming into this week with, I would imagine, hopes of a high playoff finish.
The practice slides are underway, so we are just a few moments away from the first shot.
No high fives.
And it looks like the Scheel team won the draw shot challenge, and so they will have hammer in the first end. So we'll see lead Lily Olsen started off, Lily Olsen started off, and Allory Johnson calls a guard. I was lucky enough to call their game last night, and this is a similar play that they started out with in the game. They definitely weren't afraid to start playing a bit aggressive early on and trust that they could make the shots to put pressure on the opponent.
Definitely. That's something I've seen from this team a lot, but also across the board so far this week, is we have a lot of these young skips that I think fearless is a good word. They're not afraid to throw guards up in the first end, get right into it right away, and I think it makes for an awesome viewing experience because personally I don't like watching three Blankens in a row. So we get a nice center guard to start us off here, and we're going to get right into the action.
And the Shield team will go right under that center guard. Tessa Thurlow with the first shot for Team Shield.
It's gonna go!
And you can see that stone is just way out there, but as Miranda said, it's gonna go. It's going to curl, and this stone really finishes all the way, almost nearly fully buried.
Hack? Or just draw? Yeah, I like going down the way.
It did end up just behind the tee line though, so Team Johnson will have a chance for the freeze.
Line! Hard straight! Hard! Yeah! Hard!
We are also lucky enough to have two members of each team mic'd up, which is great for the viewers. And we'll try to give them some space, give you all some space to hear them, and not just us.
Hard, never stop. Hard, all the way. That's good.
That was a pretty good sweep right there. You heard him call for line really early, but even still, with pounding it for line the whole way, it still ended up not over curling very much.
Yeah, great sweep, and we'll see a takeout attempt as a response. Have to be a little bit careful about the jam.
Hard! That's okay.
They won't avoid the jam totally, but it doesn't stick around. So good job done. That's pretty well done, and back in a bit more control. Johnson does have a hit and roll as an attempt of a response.
Yeah, and I don't have my watch on me, so I don't know what time they were trying to shoot for when they threw that shot there. One of the things we've noticed so far this week is as the weight climbs up into that 10 to 9.5 range, the rocks really do straighten out. You get a lot of curl on the draws, but once you get into that 9.5, 10 range, as we're seeing here, you're just not getting quite as much curl as sometimes you're expecting on a surface like this.
And I think that's somewhat by design, right? Weight sensitivity with the curl can really make some of those up weight shots a little bit easier. So run backs are a little straighter, while you still get a ton of curl on the draws. Is a good way to make a lot of those shots.
Definitely. You see a big sweep here from Jordan trying to keep it off that guard.
Just gets it by. Does roll out into the open, but rolls far enough that it's not an easy hit and roll back for Team Johnson. That's interesting you say that about the hit weight. Have you found that your team has to make any adjustments on their hit weights this week, or?
Not yet.
Hard piece. Hard, gotta go. Hard.
Fortunately, that one will zip right by. So
I don't know.
First miss we've seen here, and we'll give the chance for Team Scheel to potentially set up a deuce.
Yeah, they talked for a minute about throwing the peel and potentially playing a more open end, but I like this call. I think you got the miss that you're looking for in an end like this. So really good to capitalize. Play to the other side. Make Johnson come after you to prevent you from scoring the deuce.
And even though there is a center guard, this is still relatively low risk, right? Take that opportunity early when you're given it. Even though there's a lot of curling left, a deuce in the first end makes a huge difference. See him, two sweepers on this one as they try to drag it all the way to even. That is a great sweep to carry that all the way over there, and gets way out in the wing too. So that's a really great position for that stone.
Definitely no chance for a double, so you're going to see Gianna Johnson here try to make a good hit and roll behind that center guard and force Team Scheel to chase them.
Yep, yes! Hard! Oh, that really took off.
Seems like they got caught in that same spot again.
That's my bad.
Yeah, a couple rocks down that path that have curled just a little more than they were maybe expecting. But one of the things that I know that this Johnson team works really hard on is what they call pattern recognition, and just recognizing, hey, if we throw 1 or 2 or 3 shots down a spot and they all under curl or they all over curl, like, let's really try to be on that and make sure we can make the adjustment. And so I believe that depending on what happens here, we'll see them be able to make that adjustment with where they put the broom down for their next shot.
That's
Get it out. Go. Hard out.
and we'll see an unfortunate miss there. They do end up
I wasn't watching.
jamming
I was over there.
on their own
I
stone.
don't know. Okay. Is that? Take this turn. I'll give you more line. That
Does give the
Normal.
Johnson team a chance to sit 2, and suddenly a force might be on. We'll see here, Connor, if
Clean.
we
Yep.
see
Yep.
them
Whoa.
adjust to this spot.
Yep. Yes. Hard. No roll. Good shot.
And like I was talking about, that pattern recognition, they moved the broom out a little more, and that was a way better shot and a way better line. So a really good adjustment by the whole team there to make that shot.
Good shot. That first one just took off.
And suddenly the force might be on here for Team Johnson. Sitting 2, and Team Scheel has to throw a takeout and hopefully roll over in front of that other red stone.
Good. 11. Okay.
Pretty good shot there. It's a pretty good roll
Just have to
because
hit
it's
on,
hard for Team Johnson to hit this yellow and roll away and risk jamming on their back red. So they kind of got to play for the nose, maybe even roll a little bit towards their red, which would give Scheel an easier shot at the double with her first.
We have to hit it on the left. That way we don't jam.
And we'll see them
Nose is
come
fine, yeah.
with the other turn at this one, likely trying to more easily avoid the jam, have a little bit more control with the sweeping. How have you seen the curl inside out versus outside in so far?
Close.
To us, it's looked pretty consistent all around. It doesn't feel
Whoa.
like it's moving really big outside in, but not big inside out.
Hard.
And unfortunately, that stone will roll out, but still sitting 1, and Scheel has a chance to hit the open stone and set up a blank possibility.
Was I a little wide?
That's great to hear. That's
Too much
you
line?
want to
Okay.
see consistency
I think it might
both
curl a little
ways, so
more on
that
that
you
side.
have the option to throw inside out or outside in.
Because it kind of was a lot.
Most definitely. I've only
Compared to what we were
thrown once just at night practice last night, but
Yeah, because
even with the 16 rocks that I threw, you could feel that there's just a lot of consistency all across the sheet. And as somebody who's played in a couple of these events, it makes life a whole lot easier when you're playing on ice this nice.
This one looks like it's curling on them a little bit. Can they hold it? And they do.
Good throw. That works.
And that's no harm, no foul. Rolling out there doesn't really change the outcome of this end.
Rolled a lot.
Miranda will still have
Okay.
an open
It might
hit
have been
and
10.
roll, open peel for the blank.
Do you get a hug? 10-2. Okay.
I don't think they can get around that lone yellow stone off in the wings.
Works out though. Don't mind it.
Yeah, from here it almost looks like that Yellowstone's on the boards, but Obviously, they don't think so, but with these full-size sheets out here, if that rock's that close to the boards, you have no chance of burying anything. So just a free draw here for Allory.
We actually used to have narrower sheets. We used to have walkways on the sides of sheets 1 and 4, and they really started to fall apart. And instead of replacing them, we got rid of them and painted walkways. And then the year after we had painted walkways, we decided that those made no sense and that we should just widen the sheets out. And then most recently, we actually replaced the whole ice plant and the pipes underneath, and
That was, I don't know. What
sort
time
of
did you get?
made it more formal that the sheets were this wide. But we got a little bit lucky that this building that was built in the 60s has the space for wide sheets. A lot of older buildings you see don't have space for full size sheets. And we'll just see a control weight throw through here from Miranda Scheel and an easy blank after a couple back and forths, and we'll end up 0-0 after 1. And we will be back for the start of the second end.
Good end. Thanks.
All right, we are back for the start of the second end in a 0-0 matchup between Team Johnson and Team Scheel. And a quick shout out to
Has to be out.
Hero. Is your curling club website clunky and
Where?
Are you tired of your club relying on social media because your website just
Never.
does
Let it
not
stop. Let it
for your
stop.
members? Finally, the curling club management software your club has
14-4.
been waiting for is here. Check out Warm Room Hero at curling.club
That's all right, just a little
today.
My bad. Control. Can I have an inch more? Okay, this is my 2.
I didn't see the call
Oh,
there
yeah.
while I was doing the read, but was that did they try to throw that in, or was it intended to be a guard?
I believe that was supposed to be a guard that just slipped a little bit deep. So
Close.
we'll see. And this is a good
Close. Yep.
a good stylistic difference that we're getting in this game. The Johnson team tends to like to play a little bit more aggressive. They like having guards in play, rocks in play. Whereas when you watch the Scheel team, they're more than happy to blank ends for you until there's no more ends to blank. They're very comfortable with that hit weight and just blanking ends, and they'll score 1 in the 10th end and call it a day.
That certainly is different than the Johnson game that I watched last night. So that's a good call out, and even though that stone was not on the center line, they still had
Hard to stick.
no question that they were going to go hit it.
All the way hard to stick. Hard to stick. Good shot.
We'll see an interesting decision now. Do you think that they'll keep drawing in or throw up a guard?
I like the inside.
Yeah, and in sticking with that more...
Like a 3 or a 2. I don't mind the 2 here. Kate, love it.
I was just about to say, in sticking with that more open style of play, we'd see them come into the rings, but you see Tessa saying that she likes to throw a guard here, and I would tend to agree. I would be throwing the guard if this was me.
Is it 2?
Yep, I agree with that, and it was interesting to see the decision making happen live there and have the discussion between the teammates.
Just to the broom. Line's really good.
Looks like we've got a pretty perfect guard thrown up by Tessa.
Just gotta sit.
And this Scheel team definitely is a team that enjoys the input from all of its members. Everybody has a voice, and everybody's voice is definitely heard, even if Miranda's the one at the far end holding the broom. So I think that's a good example of that right there, with your lead rock thrower saying that they really want to throw a guard, and that being what they end up deciding on.
Off. Never. Just here. Never.
This one looks a bit
On its
heavy.
own. Where? Never.
See if it stops just short of the house.
15-5. That's right.
But we'll
Alex,
just
it's
slip
going to
in
another
and
corner.
leave
Go.
Scheel with a
Go.
chance to hit and roll. Probably not into the house, but to set up a double corner.
Close. Yup.
You mentioned that
Yep.
sort of democratic
Yes.
style
Go.
that this team has. I think
Close.
that shows a lot
Close.
of
Yep.
experience and good team chemistry
Nice
to
shot,
have that kind of
Leave
a
it.
strategic setup. It certainly helps to get a lot of input. I
Drag
know
this.
when I was younger, I sometimes had a hard time giving any leeway to other members of my team, but certainly as I have played more, you learn that it is important to hear a lot more voices, and to know that in juniors is a really
Line's
great
good.
sign.
Lots of room.
Most definitely. You
Where?
definitely,
Pass
the
to
quicker
Cole.
that you can learn that everybody has
Pass to
valuable
Cole.
input to
Where?
all of the discussions that your
Cole,
team
you
can
can.
have,
Cole.
the better off I think you really are. For me, I can't say that that's ever been a
Push.
super big problem. Anybody who knows me knows that I like to talk, and I will talk about curling until the sun goes down. So
I like top 8. Yeah.
Well, we're glad to have you up here.
yeah, I'm glad to be here. I got to do a
nice here.
couple of the women's draws out in Denver in February at Women's Nationals, and that was really enjoyable. So when I found out that Curling Stadium was coming out here to do juniors, and I was going to be out here, I
Line's
texted
good.
John
Yes,
and
sir. Tons
made
of
sure I
room.
got myself
T.
on the broadcast
Line's
schedule.
Close street. Close street. T.
Well,
Yep.
we're glad you're here helping out. It is always good to have
Mine's okay.
people with
Mine's
experience
okay.
and knowledge of the teams
T.
out here.
That's fine. T's
I am
good.
finding myself
T's
a
good.
little
Are we 2
a
in?
little bit
Yeah.
more distant from,
Yeah.
especially from the
Well,
junior game than I
already
maybe
passed
was
it.
when I commentated in 2013.
She's
So
good.
it is very good to have your
Tiny bit.
your knowledge of the teams and of the way that the game has been changing. Seeing a bit of a pile up behind this double corner. Both teams had a draw slip a little bit deep,
Close. Where?
and now the Johnson team has a chance to take advantage of that little bit of a pocket back there.
Stay close for line. Close line. Straight. Straight. Whoa. Where?
As long as they can keep
we
this
up?
on the
Push or
right
we're up?
side of these
Push.
rocks, the weight
Push.
shouldn't be a super big deal.
Whoa. That's good. Really nice. Dude, do you like just throws here?
Just got a little
Yeah.
bit unlucky there to leave a nose double and
that
not
back one
quite get rid
biting?
of the other yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
just
do
heavy
well,
enough to
Wayland.
hit that yellow and roll
This
off,
one
but
doesn't
not
go
quite
out.
heavy enough
Okay.
to get it to go out of the rings.
I don't mind this. Nose is good.
The one saving grace for the Johnson team
Yeah.
here is it's really hard for Miranda Jordan to throw this double and leave the shooter in a spot that doesn't leave a double right back.
9-5. Close. Yup.
That's a good point. You'll probably see them try to roll the shooter as much as they can.
Yup. Hard. Nice shot, Joel. Beauty.
But nose hit,
Really good.
beautiful double there.
9-5.
Maybe a double, but that's a tricky double with what they can see. But I think
Just try to get the
they'll
roll.
try for the roll and maybe a double if it curls enough.
Normal. If you're tight, there's a double.
And I think this is a really
Normal.
mature call here from Allory, who's, I believe, 15. I could be wrong about that. That obviously the double is what immediately presents itself to you. But if you make this hit and roll behind cover, it's just as good as making the double,
Bailey.
because Team Shield's going to have to make a run back or something to get at this rock.
a little wide.
Unfortunately, this
Well,
one doesn't quite curl enough, and will hit the wrong side of the rock and roll out.
Nice
And
little
we'll
split here.
likely see Team Scheel try to go under that corner.
I honestly like top 12.
Or, I'm wrong.
Even's
They're
fine.
going open
Yeah.
side. I'm a little bit surprised by that call.
Or do you like under? No, I like open.
Yeah, I
like
think
open.
their worry if they try to go under the corner is if you ever slip deep, Johnson's going to come down and freeze to you, and then it's really hard to get your deuce.
Top 12,
If you
top
make this in a
eight.
good spot,
Top 8. Yep. 12
it should
eight.
be difficult for
Top
Johnson to
12
force you.
4-5. 4-5. Whoa, watch it.
We'll see
4-5.
Jordan come up and
Go
help sweep
all
her
there.
own again here
15-4.
and see if
All
they
there.
can
Top 4.
carry this.
Top 4. Gotta sit here.
And they place it pretty much
Nice
right
shot.
where Miranda had it. Great shot there by Jordan Hine.
I kind of like it. Just hit and roll, because then we get the double maybe. Normal, like there.
Now Allory will try for that open hit. I'm
Normal,
not sure.
try and get the roll all the way over.
She just answered my question. She's going to try to roll all the way over to that other yellow. This is why those
Far roll,
Mike's
but, I mean,
athletes are so much better than what we have to say up here.
Takes a lot of the guesswork out of it for us.
Normal.
But yeah, there's not a whole lot of danger here. I think you can call the line on this one pretty aggressively. Really try to make sure that you roll as big as you possibly can, because if you roll out, all likelihood suggests that Scheel's going to throw that same draw.
Hard to stick. Whoa.
Will over curl, but stick around to be first shot. And
Small roll's okay. Control.
not the easiest hit here for
Go for the
Miranda
nose,
Scheel,
though.
way out wide.
Yeah, these ones can always be tricky when you're out here. You don't always get out here in practice, so early in the game, in the second end, when you haven't thrown potentially a lot of rocks out here,
Just nose,
it can
small
be
roll's
difficult
okay.
to know,
Play
is it going to
9-5?
jump, is it going to run?
Control here. Can we maybe play a 9-5 out here?
And
Okay. You like 9-5? We had one of Joe's last game.
And Tessa basically just said exactly what I was going to say.
really
When
wanted
you
that
throw
far
these
out.
out here and you don't always know if
safer.
it's warmed up,
Yeah.
keeping your weight up
Okay,
is
make it.
usually the way to go. And that's why they like to throw 9-5 here instead of the 10-5 I believe they called in the first place.
And as you said, that'll probably keep this quite a bit straighter than you would see with that 10-5.
Got room. 9-5. Close, yeah. Good, yeah.
That really did curl a lot at the end. And we'll roll almost all the way across the house.
Roll.
Doesn't leave a double, but it is
This turn?
open for a hit here for
Like
Allory.
control?
It's actually not a bad
control.
spot for that to have ended up.
Yeah.
No, it's not an easy hit and roll. I was a little surprised that Tessa was off that at all. Kind of by upping your weight and throwing it out there, you're
Try
trying
to
to
get the
make
roll
sure
over.
that the rock doesn't catch on any frost or anything that might be out
So
in
that-
that
yeah.
path. So usually, unless you're really
Don't-
wide,
there can't be much of a
you
roll
really
'cause
want to
it's
make
pretty
sure that
far-
you have a
it's in the
brush
back.
down just to keep anything that might be in the way out of the way. And then as well,
Control.
because you don't always know how much it's going to curl, just to be ready in case.
See Allory Johnson attempt a little bit of a hit and roll here, try
Stay
to
close,
get
clean.
under those corner
Close.
guards.
Yeah! Yes! Whoa! Whoa! Curl! Curl! Whoa! 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 Whoa!
But just the nose, and Miranda Scheel will have an open hit for 2.
I'm kind of like an outside. Normal.
And that too early can definitely be a
We'll
big
have way
a big
over our
momentum
Just
swing,
normal here.
and shows the patience that Miranda Scheel and team have
Normal.
had here
I like
to
9-5, yeah.
just slowly
Yeah.
chip away and
You like
work to
around
set
the
up
half
just
on
a
that
2.
side. Yeah, I like
take
the outside
control.
better. We just have here too. For sure.
Definitely. It always feels good, especially when you win the hammer in the LSD. It always feels good to put a 2 up on the board as the first score.
It doesn't hurt to do that in the second end, too. Not a long way till the 10th end, but it's always nice to be in the even ends.
Most definitely.
9-5. 9-5. Close. Close.
Trying to carve it over.
That's good.
And it looks like it just stopped in time.
Good throw. 2.
And it did. They indicate 2 points for Scheel. Just
PT.
barely didn't stop, just barely rolled and bumped that
good
yellow,
call.
but didn't bump it out of the house. So 2-0 here after 2, and we'll be back in a minute.
That was better than roll. No, that was better than roll. Okay. Okay. Always curl. Always.
All right, we are back
Looks like you
here
can
in
roll.
Wayland, Mass at Broomstones Curling Club in the third end of the undefeated matchup between Team Johnson and Team Scheel. I am joined here by Connor Kaufman commentating, and we see Scheel after taking that 2, just going right back to sort of that conservative play that we've seen from them and put one right on the button.
Okay.
Yep, and no surprise here that Team Johnson's going to throw up the corner. Lily Olson delivering the lead rocks for this team.
Lead only, line's good. Whoa, pass to sit. T. Pass to sit. Where? Are we in? Are we
Looks
in?
like this
We're
might
in?
just be carrying on them all the way into the house. We'll miss one opportunity to get a corner guard. They will have a couple more with the 5 rock
Just
roll.
bring your weight down a little bit.
I forgot.
Does that go right through? Hard to tell. I bet it's in.
I like topping it first.
I don't know. I
Top 12
I
yards,
also
top
don't know if it
8.
matters much. I think that's a rock that you're not likely to throw a guard up on to try to protect that rock specifically. So use sort of this free one here to get a nice tight guard. Maybe it slips into the top 12 foot. Really take control of that front area of the rings that's so important.
This one also looks a bit heavy.
It's curling early.
Maybe they're just going to go for a draw right in front of that stone, although it's also
Well,
over curling a bit. Ends up right next door, but
Do you like just sitting
it
here?
leaves a pretty tough double, even though those 2 stones
wanna
are so
hit or
close
sit?
together. And they're talking about maybe that freeze. What do you like here, Connor?
I don't care.
I like this.
I think I like what they're calling here. I think if you're gonna come into the
Normal.
rings and make a play at these yellows, be it a freeze or a hit, I think I like this hit and roll. You might make Team Scheel waste a rock trying to get yours out of there, and maybe they spill their own. And then if that red rock is in the back over there, then maybe you can try to attack
Where?
a little bit
Well, I
and
mean,
throw a
close.
guard.
Whoa.
Down. Yep. Hard. Get the roll on top of theirs. That's good.
Sweep it pretty much all the way. Do Do get the hit and roll, bump the yellow back a bit,
Yeah.
but doesn't leave it in a bad spot. The Shield
I like
team
those.
will have a hard time rolling and not leaving a double.
That looks like a lot of bro.
Exactly. I think mission accomplished with that rock right there. Just get one yellow out of the rings and make it really tough for Shield to not leave a double with this shot here.
See Tessa Thurlow with the hit and roll attempt. Jordan Hines sweeping end to end. But they will not avoid the jam. The red does spin out, but they also lose their own and the shooter. So now we'll see what the Johnson team wants to do in
I
this
can't tell.
almost empty house.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I believe I'm going to go on the assumption that that red is in. And I don't know what they think it is. I think if I knew it was in, I might consider throwing up a corner guard on maybe that side and try to force Shield to see if they want to peel that or if they want to try and draw around it.
And we heard Allory say that she can't
Throw if
tell.
you can.
It's
Are we
certainly
through?
very close.
4-0. 14-0, I mean. That's all right.
And that's always a tough situation to be in as a skip. As a skip, you like to know everything, as this rock is also close, but definitely in. Because it's tough to make decisions if you don't know whether one of your rocks is in the rings or not.
This is where we need little geolocators in the rocks that always tell us who's counting.
10.
So they'll hit this stone that we know for sure is biting, but it does curl in the same spot that we saw Team Johnson miss a few there. So maybe Shield just the Shield team didn't quite make the adjustment that we saw Team Johnson make, and that one just got away from them. And now a chance for Bailey Vadich to draw to the other side, sit maybe 2.5.
I like that. I think I'm going to use that when I start playing. Yeah, we can sit 2.5 here.
Take a look. Whoa.
All about probabilities.
Stay close.
50% chance that's in, it's a half a point.
There you go.
Push. Push. Curl. Hard Lily.
Really nice shot there out of Bailey Vadich.
Do you think they're going to try to roll all the way across the house here?
9-5. Yep. Close. Yep.
Well, I don't think it matters anymore whether or not that red rock was in or out, because that red is now definitely out.
It's a great
Normal.
1.5 takeout there.
Which turn?
And now I will retire that joke forever.
Still a pretty okay spot here for Team Johnson. They're sitting one way out on the wing, and if Gianna can make this hit and leave the shooter in a pretty good spot, there won't be an easy double for Team Shield to get both of those reds out of the rings.
Whoa. Curl. Whoa. Whoa. Bailey's rock. Bailey's rock. Curl. Whoa. Straight. 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 Straight.
Good shot by
That's all right.
Gianna Johnson.
Oh, thank you.
We now have another stone almost in the identical spot. Maybe closer to biting, hard to tell.
I'm going to say with even more certainty than I thought about the last one that I think that yellow is in. It looks to me like it's just a little bit closer, but we will see if that comes into play.
It doesn't look like it's closer than the other red biting in the back of the other side of the house.
Hard curl.
Jordan Hine will get rid of the red, but roll
Draw.
out and leave Gianna Johnson a chance to
You have a
freeze
little
to
bit of
the
backing,
or
not
just
much.
draw open side, but the backing might be there.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, that yellow rock, well, it is a rock of Team Shields that may or may not be in the rings. I don't think they'd be overly happy with that rock being there right now, because as we just heard Allory say, it gives the Johnson team a little bit of backing on this draw that they're throwing.
Clean. Where? Do we need backing? Curl. Curl. Push. Whoa. That's good.
Good communication by Team Johnson there. The sweepers really let Allory know that it was heavy, and they managed it perfectly down and took advantage of that backing.
Yeah, most definitely. And I know that's something that their coach Chris harps on all the time is communication, communication, communication. As we know from playing in this sport for a while, the more information that you have, the better. I'm pretty sure that every competitive curler I've ever met is always a fan of more communication and more information being transferred as opposed to less.
Sorry.
That little bump on the yellow will allow Team Scheel here to remove the red with a nose hit, but they won't be able to roll too far over without risking an unfortunate jam.
9-5. Close. Yep.
Tessa working this one hard to make sure they don't jam on that back yellow.
And it just does jam there. That another one that really curled on Team Scheel this end.
Yeah, I'm surprised
Yeah, I
because
kind of.
everybody on this Shield team has a pretty positive release, so it's not the kind of release that I would imagine coming into this game that would have rocks just jumping on them. So it's a little bit surprising to see how much curl they're getting out of some of these rocks.
Like
With
top
that
four.
jam, we'll see Allory
Do you like
Johnson
that
has
coming
a
to the
chance
center?
here to draw to sit
Okay.
3.
Okay.
So 4-0.
4-0.
Yeah, it's one of those weird
Okay.
situations that you don't find yourself in a lot of times where your conversation is less about where's a good spot for this rock so that we can score 2 and where can we put this rock to not give them a double and potentially score 3.
They choose here, looks like top 8 in the center.
Stay close.
We'll leave some possible doubles, but no easy doubles.
Take a look.
Yeah, I think the idea, they talked about
Take a
going
look.
to the corner on top of one of their own
Top
reds
four,
a
top
little
four.
bit. I think the idea with this is if you can put it top 8 in the middle of the sheet, every double on the sheet is really
Has to be
long.
front.
Does carry, and if you squint, there might be a triple.
You ever just go here?
It's very close. My gut reaction says that the red would go over the top of the back 12 rock, but Kevin Martin always talks about the 90-degree angle for triples, and that's
I like just normal.
about as close to 90 degrees as you can get. I don't know that Miranda's playing for even the double here. Seemed like she motioned just a hit and roll on top of that red. Give Johnson a tough shot for even 2 and really difficult to stick around for 3.
That's what I saw too, and certainly that roll will be very, very important here. Big shot coming for Miranda Scheel.
9-5. Have room. 9-5. Got a curl. It's not there.
Tessa Thurlow trying to get it over, but it looks like this is going to go right by.
Same thing. Same one.
Fortunate miss there for Scheel that will leave a draw for 4 for Allory Johnson. It's a huge swing.
Most definitely. She had a
Same
free
thing.
draw in the
Just has to be
first
anywhere in.
when one of the Scheel rocks
Same
rolled
weight?
out. She played an
I
inside
can
out
probably
and
throw
ended up a little bit
less.
heavy. She had a few more ends
Just make
to
sure you don't jump on it.
get the
right
draw
away.
weight under her belt, and she just put this
Okay.
rock back 4 foot. So I would expect that she's going to put this one pretty close.
Just has to touch paint here, so draw for 4, attempt for Allory Johnson.
420. Same thing, little add. Whoa.
Just has to be in. Just make sure it's in.
Your weight's up.
Sweepers saying they think it's a little more than the last one she just threw. 14-2, we clicked on the watch up here.
Watch it all the way.
That's good, Allory.
And another biter. It looks like that is 4 with 3 of the points biting the house. But a huge 4-point score here for Team Johnson. And after 3, the score is 4-2, Johnson over Scheel.
Yeah. You thought the draw was for 2? Oh. Well.
Twin Cities Orthopedics is ready to go with more doctors, specialty services, and convenient urgent care locations. Ready, set, TCO.
All right, we are back here in the 3rd draw of the Women's
Over and up,
Junior
over and
National
up.
Championships here in Wayland,
Sorry, that's my bad.
Massachusetts.
Good sweep.
In
Good
that
shot.
last end, we saw a huge score of 4 for Team Johnson, and it looks like they're still going to stay on the offensive and throw up a center guard.
Yeah, and like we've been talking about, this is that stylistic difference between these two teams. When we saw Scheel score their 2 in the second end and go up by 2 points, they immediately went top 4 foot, whereas Team Johnson now up by 2. They were playing for a high guard there, which makes me think they might have been thinking about double centers, even up 2 in the 4th end, potentially thinking about keeping that hammer if they can get a steal here in the even ends.
Hard, girl. Hard, Barry. Hard. Hard, Joel.
And this shot also shows that stylistic difference. Down 2, just throwing around that high guard.
Yeah, I can imagine that if the roles were reversed and this is what we had set up, that we would see the Johnson team playing a corner guard and attempting to get play out to the wings.
As it is, we'll see a hack weight attempt here by Lily Olsen.
Close, clean,
to
yeah,
remove
yeah.
that Scheel stone.
Yeah! Hard! Hard!
Bailey
Hard!
Vadich
Gotta
sweeping
go!
the entire
Hard!
way.
Whoa.
Looks like it will crash on the center guard.
That's all right. 12-0. I think she was just a little tight.
Leaves a corner guard for Team Scheel, and it looks like they're going to try to wrap one under there.
Yeah, the yellow and the red are a little bit far apart laterally to Christmas tree, but I think it's going to be the same kind of concept here, trying to be 3/4 buried or so, top 12 foot.
Are we top 12, top 8? Do we need a split? Yep. Yes. Yep. Get the roll. Get the roll. Get the roll.
That's a great,
Nice shot,
another
Seth.
example of great communication here.
13-7.
And a great adjustment as that stone was coming down to get
Do you like this?
probably a better result than the called shot.
Okay.
Yeah, you get your shooter full buried, and you get that yellow rock that was top 4 foot, kind of in the open, into a spot that's harder for Team Johnson to really play off of. It's behind the tee. They're not really going to be able to make any real doubles off of that rock, but it is in the 4 foot, so it's going to be important later in the end.
Right here. Where? Pass to Kroll.
Looks like a freeze attempt
Pass to Kroll. Where?
for Bailey Vadich here.
Push. Push.
It's just hanging a bit on
Whoa.
them.
Whoa. Whoa.
I think they just need this one to stop
Yep,
at
push.
this point.
Gotta go. Hard, Gianna. Hard, Gianna, help. Yep, keep going, keep going. That's all right.
Wade ended up being pretty close, but just didn't curl quite
one?
as much as they needed it to.
They moved that way. I don't care.
But it is
Are they
shot
even?
stone, and Scheel will have to
These?
throw some sort of takeout on it.
No, yellow's above. I still like long roll. Normal?
I would agree that I like the
Okay,
long roll. I think
10.
you want to get this shooter as far away from your other yellows as you can. Make Johnson decide whether they want to throw a hard double or if they want to try that same freeze they just attempted.
Yup. Yup. Hard. Hard, Joel. Gotta go. Any roll you got. Any roll you got. Any roll. Woo! That's fine.
Just a little bit of a roll. Probably does leave a couple double opportunities here.
Just
for
like right
Johnson.
here. Just off nose. Normal?
Maybe just a hit and roll with that normal
What?
weight.
You want to roll over here?
Well, it'll roll this way a bit. Just have to get the
Yeah,
double.
angles-wise, it looks like if you threw kind of a
Double.
heater at this one, you might be able to get all 3. As it happens, Team Johnson just playing for the back double, and to roll the shooter kind of nestled into the side of that other yellow that's top 4 foot.
Whoa. Cole, push. Hard. Hard. Hard.
So one hanging again, and they
What
will
happened? That was a
just
bad
hit half
slide.
and roll away.
Okay.
Sounds like from the way you were talking about that, you might have thrown that triple.
Yeah, I think I would have attempted it. I'm not necessarily known for being able to throw the rock overly hard, but I think I would have made an attempt.
Like here?
I agree there. Hard to look at those angles and not want to throw a bomb, especially with a lead. But that's the style of that Team Johnson, right? They're trying to keep some stones around and keep some pressure on throughout the game.
Most definitely. I mean, everything this Johnson team does is controlled. They play a lot of that lower weight. Let's keep rocks around. Let's really manage things with our sweepers and with our line calling, not just rely on, hey, let's blow it up when something bad happens.
Yep. Hard test. We're close. Over and off. We're close.
Tessa Thurlow trying to drag this as far as she can,
Hard
but
test.
it looks like it may come up just shy
That's
of the
okay.
half.
That's okay.
But a great sweep.
Works.
It does
17.
completely cover that other stone. So it makes,
Yeah.
well, they might have been able to get access to that.
As you hear Tessa saying there, that's a tribute to just how fast this ice is. I mean, she pounded that rock the whole way, and that was a 17-second hog-to-hog time that she almost got to the rings.
Testament to a very strong sweeper and some sweepable ice too.
Hard. Hard.
Most definitely.
Yep. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
We were talking about this a little bit pregame, but one thing on this ice
Good shot.
that I've noticed is that it's quick and you can
Just
carry
do
stones with sweeping.
We're one.
We definitely saw that.
Do you like
Even though
this
the
better?
throw was quite light, Tessa was able to carry that a very long way.
Just T.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen that exact same thing on the A-Bear team that I'm coaching this week. Is just, it feels like you can carry rocks an absolute mile. And
Just T.
I got to tell you, as a player,
Just T, straight
that's fun.
side.
It's fun
Always
as
straight.
a line caller. It's fun as a sweeper
straight.
to
Top
know
four.
that you
Just
feel like
T.
you can just,
To T.
and as a shooter too,
Straight
to feel like
side.
you can throw a rock
Straight
10
side.
feet light and your sweepers are going to be able to get you there. It gives you a lot of room
hard to
for
T.
error.
To T. All
And again, a testament to this ice crew and
15-7.
the effort they put in here to really give us championship ice on gear.
Normal.
See it.
Normal.
Hit and roll attempt by Johnson. That stone did go deep enough that I don't think there's a double.
Yeah, you'd have to throw, I think, quite a bit of weight to make any real attempt at the double.
Push. Hard. Hard for a piece. For a piece. Hard.
Just going as hard as they
for a
can to
piece.
get
Hard,
any
Bailey.
of
Hard.
this yellow.
Hard. Hard piece.
Just
That's something
whisker
nicer.
right by.
How much do you have? I don't. You like here? Do we ever go to it? Then there. We could do this now. I think they just come down to it though. How much do you have?
As we listen in here,
I don't hit track. This year? I think they're playing a double then. I don't mind here. I'm either thinking here or we play hack at this though. I think if we come back house though, they're freezing on it. I don't really like that. I think they're still freezing. So I'm thinking I don't mind here. Or we could play the hack at this and get over here. I think that's risky. I think we can save this. Let's just go here then. Okay. I don't mind here. I think it leaves a double, but I don't mind here. Do we go here? Let's play this like with like back line, and if we just go here, that's fine. Yeah, back line. I like back line. Back line. I like this. Wait.
Really good discussion by all three team members there. They talked through all of the different options and settled on what looks to be a backline tap. They at some point they do need to move this red stone back to make it so that their stone in the side 8-foot is a counter, and there's not a great place to put a stone.
yeah, you're in that kind of tough spot where there's a lot of rocks around the 4-foot, but not a lot of rocks. I think that Miranda made a really good point in that discussion that if they just freeze to this red rock, Johnson's coming right down, and if they weld one on good, it's really hard to score too. So I think this is smart, trying to move this red and stick your shooter around.
Really got a curl. We don't have anything. Whoa. Whoa. It just really stuck out there.
I could be wrong, but I feel like that's
yeah, good weight.
maybe the second rock in that
Good weight,
spot
too
that
much
just
berm on that
didn't
one.
quite curl
It
as
just
much
really
as either team thought, and
I mean, nothing
they called
backing
for
up, I
back
don't
line,
think.
and they were actually a couple of feet
Normal.
light. So if that
Right there.
was back line, that spot really runs a little more than the teams are thinking it might.
As it came down, the way it was hanging there, I
What?
thought it must be heavy,
What?
but it ended up coming up, if anything, a little bit light of the call, so definitely a little bit surprising there.
Don't
We'll
make
see
me
if
look.
we see that again. And that will leave a hit and roll attempt here for Allory Johnson.
Okay, normal. Okay. Try to get the roll under.
Big shot here for Allory Johnson in the 4th end.
Yep. Whoa. Clean. Push. Whoa. Push. Hard. Hard.
They will just get a piece. Where will the shooter go?
That's okay.
Unfortunate there as it roll. The red shooter rolls out probably into the open. May leave Miranda
Do you
a
like
shot
chasing,
to.
or do you like
to
just
sit
here
three.
first time?
Yeah, I thought for a minute that they were going to get lucky off their own red in the back and have it spin up to where they were trying to roll
I
to.
like tea, even, even small.
Would have had to
I
hit
want it to be
the
more than-
top yellow rock a little bit thinner to not
I'm
get
still
this
in
red
favor
out
of it.
here.
You like a hair more? I think it'll be good.
And they're choosing to draw open side and sit 2 and ignore the red for now.
Yeah, I got to say I'm a little surprised. I know they talked about chasing after that red. I really like going after it. If you can hit that red and even roll a little, like if you nose it, it's fine. If you roll away, it's okay.
I like it. Let's make it.
Anywhere kind of keeping it out there, Johnson's got to make a tough hit and roll and might give up 2 or 3. With this, I feel like you could make it perfect, and Allory gets to throw the same shot she just threw, and she might have a little bit more backing to run into with that red rock being where it is in the back of the 8-foot.
Looks like Scheel in this draw came up a little bit light on her slide, and they're both trying to sweep it as far as they can.
It looks kind of okay to me. I got 15-5.
The question is, will they be able to outcount that back red? Not quite. This leaves an interesting decision for Team Johnson.
Did you like that? I kind of like just getting a roll.
I don't mind this though either. What?
Yeah. Normal? Yeah. Maybe a little less line? Like there?
Yeah, it's tough. I would be tempted to throw the double. I think one of your worries is if you hit the top yellow too thick, there's a world in which you push this top 4 yellow back potentially into your own red, and you only need to move it a couple inches to put that back 8 yellow into play.
And this is it's a tough situation here for Team Johnson. Sheel's only sitting 1, but because that red is accessible,
normal.
they do sort of have to play defense on these stones that aren't counting.
Something else you could consider here if you're Team Johnson is just to play the freeze to that top 4 yellow.
Yep.
You make it good.
Hard! 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 Gotta go! Hard!
This stone will hit on the wrong side of nose and roll a little bit and leave Miranda Scheel with
That's all right.
that lightweight hit at this red stone for a chance at 3.
2. Yeah. No. We're 1.
Yeah, big moment here for Miranda. One of the things that
No, we're only 1.
I always try to harp on when I talk to teams is anytime you score a big end, a 3 or more, really trying to dial in the next end and not let your opponent score a big end right back. I can't tell you how many times I've scored a 3 or 4 and then let the opponent score one right back on me in the next end, and it hurts the soul a little bit when that happens.
On this all the way, but it looks like they'll get it by just barely, and they will make the shot for 3. Big shot there by Miranda Scheel to sneak by all that junk in the front and score her 3.
Okay,
And that will make the score
whoa.
5-4 Scheel
Okay.
over Johnson after 4 ends.
Hey, good end. Let's keep it clean here.
The everyday person may not aspire to be a professional athlete or an Olympic athlete. You may just want to be the best person you can be. You just may want to sleep better. You may want to feel better. Thorne has many products that can support all of those things. So it's not just about performing or running faster or jumping higher. It's those little things that go into having a higher quality of life.
All right, we are back here in the fifth end of a high-scoring battle between Team Scheel and Team Johnson. After 4, it's 5-4 Scheel. And we'll see Team Scheel play another draw right into the house.
Okay, I need less weight than the last one. Or I forgot.
Yeah, I think for Team Johnson in this end, it's really important to just play a good end, right? Scoring 2 is great. If you blank, it's fine. You're going to take hammer into the 6. Just really play a solid fundamental end. And it always feels nice having a lot of made shots under your belt going into the halfway point of the game. Have something you can kind of build on going into the second half.
You guys have to stop jumping on the rocks, on the guards. That's all right.
Absolutely. And we see a good corner guard here thrown up by Lily Olsen. And Scheel will continue to play
Give you a couple feet less.
play into the house here, top 8. With that stone slipping to the back 4, I think you do likely need to throw one into the top of the house. And I think that's also their comfort zone.
Still got it.
Most definitely. This team kind of lives and breathes within the 12-foot and in.
Line's better. Line's good. Line's good.
They're very comfortable with rocks in and around the 4-foot and the 8-foot. They're all pretty good at reading angles and understanding where rocks are going to go, so that's where they like to play.
Ends up top 4, maybe a hair deeper than they wanted, but still a good spot. And Johnson will just ignore this pile of yellows and go right under their corner.
Yeah, and I think this shot, the outcome of this shot is going to be a big indicator for how this end is going to go. We talk about all the time lead rocks being really important, and if this rock ends up in a good spot, I think you're going to see a good push for 2 from Johnson here, whereas if it doesn't end up in a great spot, they're going to be leaning more towards the blank side of the spectrum.
Off.
Need some of that late curl here.
Just try to stop jumping on the rocks.
Digging in.
That's all right. Nice shot.
Seems like the sweepers got a little bit fooled by the speed there, but it does hang on.
Yeah, we've heard Allory mention a couple times that she really wants her sweepers to just give it that 10 feet. You know, we always talk about give it that 10 feet after the hog line for you to really make a strong assessment about how fast that rock's traveling, because realistically, the first 10 feet of sweeping isn't going to be the most important 10 feet of sweeping that you're doing. So give yourself that room to judge the rock before you get down to sweep.
Whoa!
And especially with everything we're talking about how much of a difference you can
Like
make
that?
late. There's really no need to sweep
Burn?
early
Yeah.
unless you are way light.
Most definitely.
Good guard put up here by Team Scheel, and we'll see a peel attempt by Bailey Vadich.
Close. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Hard. Whoa.
You got to be a little careful of their red in the back of the
That's
ranks
good.
here.
Does just get over the top. Maybe not the side they were trying to hit it, but it does the job, gets rid of that guard, and the Scheel team will try to put it right back.
From where I come from, out in Seattle, we call that the Darren Leto peel.
Hopefully Darren is out there listening. Good guard there by Jordan Hine.
Yeah? Or do you want to do the same thing?
I like that same thing.
I like this again. Maybe a little more weight.
I think this is a good decision by Team Johnson. You're still in seconds rocks. You're not in a ton of trouble yet, and if you can make this run or get it into one of those yellows, you're gonna set yourself up pretty good.
Hard, it's close! Hard! 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 Hard!
Just over curls, and they do jam on the back red stone. So that potential scoring point later in the end is no longer there. And
Better.
now a little bit less risk
8-8.
for
That's good weight.
the Shield team, and certainly they will just throw up another center guard.
The first one, her weight was down the first one.
Yeah, as long as Scheel keeps making these center guards, I think we're going to see some guard and peel exchanges here for at least one more round. Eventually, the Johnson team is going to have to play into the rings and try to move some of those yellows to give themselves a chance to score. But hold out for one or two more guards and hope that maybe you get a little bit of an overcurl or an undercurl.
Really good spot. I like this. Do your time.
Guard curls enough, but it's fairly long, and it looks like the Johnson team will try the freeze on the back yellow.
I was mostly.
I like this. I think that the Shield team has shown over the last couple rocks
I
that they
didn't.
know
I just-
exactly where to put the broom
It's my
for this
natural
guard.
tendency to
So
go
you
that
get
side.
not even a miss, you just get a rock not traveling super deep. And on this ice that curls this much,
Where?
those yellow rocks are very
Hard,
much
straight.
accessible right
Gotta
now.
go, Lily. Hard. Where? Hard. All the way. All the way. Hard. Hard line.
It's hard to get it by
line.
that center guard.
Hard. Gotta go. Where?
They do, but it will continue to overcurl out the other side. Just sneak past both of the yellows and leave a hit and roll here for Miranda Scheel and team. They can roll this to the center line. All of a sudden, they're in a really strong spot. So we'll see Jordan Hine here with the hit and roll attempt. Nice shot.
Like that?
And now
I kinda like
you
this
see
again.
The Shield team sitting free on the 4 foot. Not a lot of space for Johnson
Same
to
weight.
get in there. Looks like they will try this draw.
Okay. Heel. Firm. Just hit nose.
I believe this shot change came from Gianna sitting in the hack, and I think there's some merit to if the person in the hack's seeing it and they think they're going to make the run, let them have a crack at it.
Hard. 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 Hard.
Great shot there by Gianna Johnson. That's a really long run back, and she does make noise on those stones in the 4 foot.
Yeah, really good shot by Gianna. Still plenty of work to do for Allory with her pair to try to salvage at least a point out of this
I like
end.
the draw. Because then if you get in there, then it's like, there's no way they're getting out.
And certainly still a center run here.
The only reason you missed the
That's a
draw
lot
the
of
first
pressure
time is you were
now.
so narrow.
They got. That's one of those with how long that
No, I
run
don't
back
really
is.
have
A millimeter makes a huge difference. They contact on the stones of the house.
I think I'm just going to have to draw.
Yeah, if it
For the guard.
curls just a sliver less, they make contact with the top yellow rock of those rocks in the 4 foot, and then the situation looks a lot better for them with no rocks at least above the T line of yellow.
Just a 3. Yeah. Yeah. Hair over, but yeah.
We're talking
Split
about
center. Okay. Would be perfect.
a millimeter or two
I'm trying to throw
of
it
extra
loose so
curl
like
that they had on that
Yeah.
to still get one of the yellows there.
There's something under
Yeah,
this.
the finest of margins here at
Your
these
what?
national championships.
Sorry. 16.
So they saw the guard.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, just at the end. See if they hit this line.
Top 12, top 8. We're always in. We're really up. Always in. Curling. Yes, 3.
Struck over curling kind of a lot on him. They're going to be in the rings, but where are they going to leave this yellow?
I'm not sure what happened there.
Maybe we have this
'cause
double.
It was a little bit up on the weight and really just
What do you like?
really on her.
Okay. What?
'Cause we can't come this way.
She did say when she was sitting in the hack that there was something under her rock, and she went to re-clean it, and you saw something pretty
feel
big
like
sitting on the
hitting
bottom of
this?
that. So I wonder
Because
if
if we
maybe she
hit
didn't
sit here,
quite
well,
get
that after.
everything off, and it just might have grabbed on her.
Oh!
Do you
The way
like
that's
that?
not acted, I think it must
Hitting this double,
Yeah, because I don't think that rock
Control?
had any business
like there.
being on that
Okay.
side of that red guard.
Throw like a 10-0. 10-0.
With that miss, though, it does open up a lot of a better possibility for Allory Johnson.
Okay.
If that shot was made, she was going to be in
Yeah.
a world
I'll
of
throw like a
trouble.
10-0.
As it
Like
is
right in
right
between.
now, she's got a chance to make a double and get herself out of this end
Yeah, sure.
with some relative
Like
ease.
control up, basically. Yep. Yep. Hard. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
take out attempt on its way.
Curl. Hard push. Hard push.
Not quite curl enough and will hit the outside of the rock and roll out. That
right.
does give Miranda another
Good save.
chance to put some pressure on here.
Over there.
Yeah, one of the things we've been harping on with the A-Bear team
call
in the
it on
first
right away?
couple games
Why'd we
this
call it on
week
right away? Was it
is
narrow? It looks
unless
kinda
the
narrow.
thrower
It felt
on
narrow out of
hits
hand.
is really tight, really trying to
when I let
make
it go, it looked
sure
like it was
that
over
we're
the center
patient with
line.
our line calls and when we're putting people on, because we feel like we have the ability to back rocks up at least a little bit. And when you can do that, as with your sweepers, there's no need to jump on it in the first third unless you're really, really tight.
Unclipped and the fuzzy fell off. Not my proudest moment.
I heard them say 15-8 here is what they're aiming for. So certainly still quite quick out here.
I'm excited to eat my Uncrustables.
Heavy out of her hand.
I chose lesson that I want to kind of learn. Oh, I brought it! I will. Don't worry. I'll help myself.
Will maybe just kiss the yellow in the back of the
Control.
floor and go all the way to the back. And we'll leave Allory Johnson with
stick.
a shot
This
here
is last shot.
for the one.
Control.
Looks like they're electing to throw that control weight hit. A couple options, but control weight hit is the shot they're
Just
gonna go
control.
with.
Gianna asking Allory if she wanted to try to roll behind the guards, and Allory reminding her that this is the last
Yep.
rock of the end, so we can, but
Yeah.
not
Control.
exactly necessary. I myself have been a victim of that a couple times, forgetting that the last rock was in fact the last rock.
I've played an entire end thinking I didn't have hammer, and then found out I did. So
I feel like that's almost a rite of passage for back end players at some point. Like you just do it once.
Hard. Whoa.
big shot here for Allory Johnson, trying to
Hard. Hard. You
Get
got it. You got
one
it. You got
here.
it. Hard.
a great sweep and a great team shot there to make the nose hit and score their one. And we'll go into the fifth end break with a tie game, 5-5.
Would you touch
Johnson
the guard?
versus Scheel.
Oh, well, it's the last
And
rock.
it's time for the fifth
Okay,
end
fifth end
break,
break.
brought to you by Warm Room Hero, the intuitive curling club software that takes the stress out of schedules, registrations, and more. Warm Room Hero, a platform built for curlers by curlers. Check out
You
Warm
can,
Room
like,
Hero
watch
at
the replay on the
curling.club
screen.
today.
Let's say you're in high school and there's a sport you like, but sometimes you think, you know, it might be cool to try a new sport.
End up with a corner guard on the other side of the sheet.
Twin Cities Orthopedics is ready to go with more doctors, specialty services, and convenient urgent care locations. Ready, set, TCO.
She knocked the fucking thing off of my microphone. I stayed for a second. That's why. I'm not really stopping. I was like, oh god, shut it back on.
You guys up first.
Yeah. So we're probably going. Do like playing and Stacey getting our dues. Oh, good. Playing those matches. Making sure we score, yeah. Play those 10.
Okay, so Allie, how are you feeling?
Good.
Everything looks good. Your guys' deliveries look good. Everything's good.
I don't see any straight spots or so.
Hopefully Connor's being nice.
When you were doing those, when you were thinking it, okay, if I there, wow, watch out.
Like you had a spot that is unusual. Not there. Yeah. So. Okay. On a bear. Good.
Not keep them out here.
So what's going back
With my goldfish.
this? This one, the garbage.
Yeah. Garbage.
This thing
Alright,
here. We'll put this on top. How about that?
Thank you. Why am I up?
You're up in 30 seconds.
Okay, let's go, Lily.
Oh, high fives.
Are we all the way down there? A little extra curly.
We're down there. Go speedy, go speedy, go speedy.
What?
Go, go, go.
I'm going.
Oh, wow. Impressive.
Jordan, Ripper.
Beep, beep. Oh, Gianna. Guard! I'm gonna go. 2. Right now.
All right, we are back here for the sixth end. Thanks to our friends at Floor Curl, USA Curling member clubs are entitled to a 20% discount on any Floor Curl inflatable rink set. These rinks only take a minute to inflate or deflate and are the perfect way to promote your club at summer festivals, events, or anywhere you have a flat surface. No ice required. Visit usacurling.floorcurl.com and use the promo code FCInflatable20.
Has to sit. Has to sit. It's not, it doesn't
All right,
look good.
and now as this rock comes to a stop, we're going to check in on some of the other sheets. On sheet A, Team Pekowitz is leading View 4-1 in the 6th end. On sheet C, Rehorchuk leads Ponzio 4-1 in the 5th end. And on sheet D, Hagenbach and Berg are in a close battle. Berg winning 4-3 in the 6th end.
Line's pretty good. Got lots of room. Lots of room. Lots of room.
Couple shots left on sheet 3 in the 5th, so they are a bit behind the rest of the games.
Still curl side. Curling on its own. Curl. Curl.
However, they are not nearly as far behind as my team, Aber, was in their second game earlier today, when at one point I believe we were 4.5 minutes down on time. Both teams were 4.5 minutes down on time, so I think we were playing the 6th as some teams were finishing their 8th.
Yeah, 4 minutes is over an end behind for both teams. That's a slow start.
Yeah, it was slow. We made it up. Ended up being fine on time, but there were a lot of stressed players and coaches for about 3 ends.
Push. I thought you said it was light. That's all right.
Looks like this one will just slide right by and go through and leave Scheel with a chance to draw a second zone behind the center guard. And again, we're seeing what you've said. Their comfort level is in the house, and they're going to keep piling them in there. Use that one center guard and generate offense from that.
Yeah, and they've had some good setups and some ends. So until it stops working, until Johnson starts getting them out of the forefoot with some consistency, I don't see any reason why Scheel should go away from it.
Yep. That's fine. 14-4.
We'll come deep there and give the Johnson rink a chance to play the freeze, and we'll see Bailey Vadich with the attempt here.
Where? Has to curl. Where? Curl. Whoa. Where? Whoa. On its own. I think I can get
Everybody's just a little bit heavy here. Some might blame the mop.
I still like here.
Yeah, I mean, something that I've talked about on every team I've been on or coached. One of the last things we talk about at the end of the 5th end break is, hey guys, it is always faster after the mop, because you see
Line's okay.
more than 50% of the time that first and second rock of the 6th end goes about 4 feet deeper than anybody was trying or expecting.
Always curl.
I don't know if it's the mop or the ice sitting or it just everybody's a little too fresh, but it seems to always happen.
Yeah, who knows what it is, but every single 6th end, the same thing.
Do you like this?
And
Little
that
less
does
weight.
stop right on the T line, but again, probably just a little deeper than they wanted, and will leave a freeze for the Johnson team. And I think we're seeing just a battle of who can find that top 4 weight first in this end.
As is so often the case, it's always a battle of positioning. in these ends. Who can be the first one to put a freeze or a draw in a perfect spot?
It looks up. On its own. Has to sit. The only reason they're not curling is because they're up.
Again, a little bit heavy there. Does move the Yellowstones off the button, but Scheel has a chance to sit 3 now.
Do you ever like that?
Something interesting I saw like 2 weeks ago watching some of the Women's World Championship that was on. I forget what team it was that did it, but during the 5th end break, they always pebble the hacks, like they always pebble like the slide path, and one of the leads actually took her rock and moved it around in front of the hack a number of times to sort of break down that fresh pebble, and I had never seen that before, and I thought that was a little bit interesting.
Top eight. Nice shot, Joel.
Nice shot there
16.
from Jordan Hine to get top 8, top 12. There's still a freeze opportunity here for Johnson. That's interesting. That I have not seen that before. I've done something similar in a draw shot challenge when you don't have a full practice, just to try to break down a path. So like a lot of teams will drag a couple stones, and I was on a team that would do that and then take one other stone and bounce it back and forth over your path to try to break it down even more.
Yeah.
But that fresh pebble does also make a bit of a difference. It feels a little bit easier to kick out of the hack when you don't have a flatter surface there.
Yeah, I have never played lead competitively, so I don't usually get the
I don't mind this again.
get to experience that.
Here? It might.
Again, a little bit heavy
It's taking off
for Johnson with the red stones, and we'll see Scheel with another attempt to get to top 4 likely here.
Yeah, the Scheel team does have to be a little bit careful, because while they are shot, depending on where this rock ends up, you might leave some way to get that yellow out of the rings, and there's enough reds in the 8-foot that is some worrisome if there's no more yellows left in the 4-foot.
And true to your point, they will throw the hit on this red, which is second shot right now.
Whoa. Coming off the other one, straight. Off the other one. Whoa. Yep.
And they will end up with a really nice double there. Hit on the outside one and into the center line stone. Remove both reds and they will sit 4. And we'll see another freeze attempt by Team Johnson.
Yeah, really, really important shot here. Really need to dial in on the draw weight and make a good freeze.
Yep, mine. Where? Take a look. Whoa.
Sweepers seem to like this one a little more than some of the previous ones.
Yep. Hard.
The weights.
Whoa. Never.
Will find the hole right between those two stones. It looked like they just didn't quite judge the weight and got a little bit unlucky to find that super tight hole there.
We're 4.
Yeah, you heard Allory say just there that she didn't even think you could get through that hole.
That's not good. So they're sitting
A little bit unlucky there.
I think if we just sit right there, that's good.
Jordan Hine with a draw attempt that could put Allory Johnson in a lot of trouble on her skips rocks.
Just top 12. Line's really good. Over curling a bit. Top 12. Straight.
Tessa Thurlow trying to drag this all the way to the 12-foot. Maybe get a little bounce.
Yep. That's fine. Have that. 16.
But
Like
will
here? I want
just
a top
corner
4.
freeze, and that does take
No,
away
draw. I'm not hitting.
a couple of the options of using either of those two yellow
Wayland's
stones
gonna
for
just
Team
overcurl
Scheel.
No.
And if Johnson
way
can
you have
sneak
back
one in
and
here,
they jam
it'll
if
be
they
tough
hit.
for Scheel to remove it.
Not even tried, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Like, again, big shot for Johnson. Even though the Scheel team is sitting 5 right now, it's one of those situations where they might be sitting 5, but one good shot and that 5 becomes a 0 really, really quickly.
Just come in and sit right on top of those.
And this doesn't necessarily need to be all the way down to the yellow. I think they just need to be,
Less.
or even necessarily shot. Just got to be in front of those two, and a second shot ideally, and if perfect if it's shot, but make sure you're in front of the pair of yellows in the back 4.
Most definitely. She said before she went down that she really wanted this top 4 and pull it to the button if they could.
Well, stay close. Curl. Curl it. Push. Push. Hard. Push. Hard.
Oh, trying to curl it as far as they can, and they do get to the nose on the stone on the side 4. That little bit of extra weight just didn't quite get the curl they needed.
Good. Just a little up. What?
Sweeping.
They are either, they might be shot now, but it probably won't matter by the end of this next shot.
No. We won't. We
Yeah.
won't be 4. I think we'll be 3.
The Scheel team
That
does
doesn't
have to
matter. I still like this.
think a little bit.
Normal or control?
I think I like this call. They had to be a little worried about
more's
rolling
fine here.
in and potentially being behind the tee line and allowing Allory to throw that same shot for 1 or to cut him down.
Yeah.
If you roll away, and I think you want to roll
Just a
away
little
kind
rollout.
of big,
Just a little rollout.
Allory's got to play that
Don't wanna
same
roll too
freeze
far,
with not a lot of backing, and if it's missed,
Honestly,
it's
even if we're like half
likely a
that's nice.
pretty
like
big
control.
end.
You like normalize here?
Just a little up.
Okay.
Well, did it tap it all the way back? Well,
I think this should run
Yeah, I
good.
think I agree with you here. It does leave 1 out, but only 1 out, and it's
Yeah.
not an easy out for the Johnson team. So we'll see Miranda Scheel here with the hit and roll out to the wing attempt.
Yeah.
They do have to pay attention to where this red goes because there are some rocks that it could catch on in the back.
Yes. Okay. We're good. Good call, Joe.
It does jam, but I think it may just be 4th shot.
I don't mind that.
I think 4th shot, but we don't have the perfect angle from up above. I think it is definitely out counting the top 12 stone.
there's 3. So you just have to draw, and I think sit here.
And as we hear Johnson say, they are sitting 3.
No, that's fine. I didn't mind that.
Like here?
Yeah, and even with Miranda rolling out on that rock,
Do you know how many we are?
same kind of thing for Allory Johnson
I think we should
here.
probably
You
just
got
grab
1 out and not a lot of space to make it and no real backing.
Like top 4. Well, button's good. We want to touch button.
The one advantage she does have here is as long as she gets a little bit tucked under those 2 hook stones in the top 12,
You never know, we could have a
she could cut Scheel down to just a shot for 2.
Really important here. They've seen this line thrown a lot in this end. Really need to make sure the sweepers know what they're looking for the time.
she sure does. But it's very bad.
Shot is away, and the sweepers are indicating it's a bit heavy out of her hand. They do need to get by for line.
Mine's actually good. That's... You got it, Joe. All you.
Red Rock needs to put the brakes
you,
on
Joe.
now.
Hard, Joe. All the way. Out. Hard out. Hard out.
And it will stop, but not
should be
until it
2.
was 3rd shot. So I
Or
think
2.
that Miranda will have a draw for 3 here.
Or 2.
Are we second? Okay. What happened? Up?
Or 2.
Do you ever, are you ever tempted to try the tap for 5?
Okay.
Is that too greedy
It
here?
was a lot tighter. Yeah, she shouldn't have.
I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
I looked at it a little bit. It's definitely possible. And I don't think it's really that crazy to try it because you're already throwing a draw in that path. But the flip side of that, as the Scheel team, just play it safe, score 3. Being up 3 with hammer in the even ends at this stage in the game is really important. They might end up playing the tap anyways.
Gianna, sweep it straight.
Little bit heavy there and nudges the red, but I don't think moves it much, and we'll go right by. Looks like just a score of 2 for Team Scheel. Still in a very important 2, and they will take a 2-point lead here after 6. The score is 7-5, Scheel over Johnson.
Really light. So they come in here.
Why do I keep throwing that so fast? Doesn't feel
I
that
like that.
fast.
Yeah, if they come in.
Okay. I like right in.
Let's say you're in high school and there's a sport you like, but sometimes you think, you know, it might be cool to try a new sport.
End up with a corner guard on the other side of the sheet.
Let's say you're in high school. Let's say you're in high
End of a close game between Team Scheel and Team Johnson. 7-5 Johnson. And just wanted to quickly remind all of you about Warm Room Hero is more than just software. It's run by curlers dedicated to building long-term relationships with your club. Warm Room Hero provides continuous support to ensure your website exceeds your members' expectations. Check out Warm Room Hero today at curling.club for special event pricing.
I wonder if
Okay, normal.
I can't tell. I haven't gotten enough times. I wonder if somehow the ice is just sped up a little bit because we've seen a lot of rocks in the last end and a half go deeper than we've seen all game, and I'm a little bit confused by that.
It's clean. You want to grab your gripper?
Good nose hit there. Yeah, let's
I
try
got a
to
9-4 on
see if we
that.
can get a couple times and get a judge. It's a little bit tough to tell from up here, but it does seem like a decent number of stones are just sliding a little deep on both teams. Looks like because that corner guard came into the house for Johnson, they'll just play the hit. Lily Olsen here with the hit attempt, and
Push, push. Give the double. Really good.
a great adjustment there by Allory Johnson. Was hanging out a little bit, and a perfect line call to make the double. Doesn't always have to be the called shot. If you're good at those plan Bs, you can really make some good things happen.
Wow. I didn't mean to do that.
Tessa Thurlow here with another nose hit. And right on the money.
And now it's decision time for Team Johnson. Down 2 with hammer in the 7th end. You kind of got 2 options with the way this end is set up. You can hit that yellow rock and play for the blank, try to score your deuce and 8, keep hammer into the even ends. Or you can try and go hard for your 2 now, which is what it looks like they're going to attempt to do. And just try and get the scoreboard close and end earlier and give yourself an extra end later in the game to work the scoreboard a little bit more.
I think this fits with the way we've seen this team play all game. They have not been a team to shy away from throwing a guard, and I would be surprised if they just played out a blank here.
Trace. No.
3.5. 3.5?
3.5. Yeah. Maybe.
That's good.
3.5.
3.5, I think, was dead on. That seems to have just stopped short. But it's not a free guard anymore, so they can throw the takeout on it. So Scheel will go right after the guard. Jordan Hine here with the peel attempt.
Wait, I can see the white patch because the white. Your arm was missing.
Great hit and roll. Sitting 2 now, and I think really does force Johnson now to play some hits, and that blank that we talked about might be back on.
Yeah, at this point with no more free guard zone, you don't really have an option to throw up another guard, because at some point Scheel's going to stop peeling those and just put another one in the rings, and then you're going to get forced, which is the absolute worst thing to have happen in this end. So, play what's given to you and try to set it up again in the 8th.
The rollout there gives Scheel a chance to spread those stones out a bit more, make the double a bit harder here.
It's like 200 spins. We were watching ourselves. We look so bad. This is showing so like I had no arm. Yeah. My arm was like this too. Just like. You see your arm broken or off?
Jordanheim, the draw attempt.
I was a little surprised they didn't try to play that to the wings a little more. I feel like we're late enough in the end now that you just want separation on these yellow rocks. Try to make doubles as difficult as possible.
Like this? Normal?
You see the little bit of the lack of distance between these two gives Johnson a chance to hit and roll over, and you maybe even have a chance at the double to get back out of trouble.
Close. Yep. Hard. Whoa. Get the roll. Whoa.
Just got stuck a little in between there. Rolls a little bit too far and is not shot stone, so Scheel will just try to draw the open side again and sit 2. Does add a little bit more risk sitting there with one red in the house.
Yeah, I think if you're going to play... All right, it looks like they're going to play the hit. I think if you are or you were going to play the draw, you want to make sure that the rock you're throwing into the rings is higher than the yellow that you currently have, if anything. Because as long as that's the higher rock, any double that Team Johnson tries to throw is going to go towards that red rock, which should, in theory, give Scheel a pretty makeable double right back and not really be super difficult.
And after a little bit of discussion, they do decide to go with the draw. Playing top 4, trying to get these 2 even.
Like my bun.
will slide a little bit deep.
What else would you be shooting?
So we'll see which stone Allory Johnson decides to hit.
Yes. But I kind of like that one.
Yeah, you got a couple options here. If you're not trying to play the double, and it doesn't look like they are because it is a pretty flat double. You can try and hit the rock that's shot stone and hope to go nose-nose for a couple and eventually play off the shield stone into the yellow in the 8-foot for your double. Or you can take the alternate approach to hit that outside yellow, roll towards the middle, and try to find a double a little bit sooner.
Trying to hold this so that they stick the shooter, and they will. Good shot there by Gianna Johnson. Scheel now will have a hit right back. Try to keep them separated enough to not leave a double.
She goes, I think she has the like, what's the bird from Coco? I got 9. Moana. Hey, hey. Everyone else has a
Have a look back there at the coaches behind the glass. The coaches are allowed, I know that in the rules the coaches are allowed to talk in between ends. How does that work here with the coaches in the warm room?
Yeah, so the way we're running it here is just the coach can, there's doors at each end of the ice house, like by sheet 1 and by sheet 4, so the coach can just go out and they'll stand at the home end if they want to talk to their players. So it's not a just an odd or just an even ends, they can go out whenever they want to. And they did say in the team meeting that if that becomes a problem, then we'd have to talk about it later. But so far, it seems like it's been running great. Everybody's, you know, super respectful if they're on a middle sheet, making sure they're not walking out in the middle of somebody throwing on an end sheet. And I know that for me as a coach of a junior team, it's been...
Just hit nose.
I know that for me as a coach of a junior team, it's really nice to be able to go out and talk to them in between ends and just see how they're doing, talk about the last end, talk about the coming end, because it's helpful to kind of see where their heads are at.
It's definitely something I noticed as a player that really made a difference with a good coach, is that just a quick like sense check, get somebody who like didn't have to say much, but just sort of keep you in the moment, in the zone, and make sure, just check in with the team and see how things are going. I do like that rule change, especially in arena ice when the coach is already out there. It was always pretty impossible to not talk to the coach who was sitting 5 feet away from you. So people always kind of did it even though it wasn't allowed. So I think sort of acknowledging that and also giving the coach an opportunity to help is a great move in these new rules.
So cold.
Yeah, I like it. I think it was useful for us at men's nationals this year.
Like shaking.
Just to be able to talk to Tim about what kind of things he was seeing, if there was any random spot or rock that he might have thought went wonky, like any just random small thing. Because there's a lot to think about when you're playing, as you're well aware. So sometimes as a coach, it's easier to pick up on things that you wouldn't necessarily pick up on when you're playing.
Is your coach Tim Solon?
Yeah.
I'm a double? Yeah.
So while we've been chatting, there have been several nose hit trades.
Like, high here.
And there might just be a double opportunity now for Johnson. They're taking a look at it.
That way it's
and here we see kind of that effect of that earlier decision to hit the middle rock instead of the outside 8-foot rock, is like we talked about,
no matter what, because if we hit nose,
and now they got a chance at a double. They got to be a little careful with this double, with how close that yellow-red is
like
on the right side, that they got to get kind of into the top side of the back yellow to make sure it goes down and misses that red.
And the only problem there, if you hit the top side, your shooter's rolling right out. So you have to, if you're going to hit the top side, that yellow has to go out.
Made a little boo-boo.
What?
Made a little boo-boo.
What? Sometimes I think I'm deaf. I don't do
Big shot here in the 7th end for Allory Johnson.
Okay. Normal pro side. Normal up. Have to hit the left of the rock.
Allory Johnson shot away with the hit and roll or double attempt here.
Hard! Push!
Trying to carve it as much as they can.
Hard! Hard!
And it will just float by. And that is a steal of 2 for Team Scheel to break open the game a little bit. So that makes the score 9-5 Scheel over Johnson after 7 ends. And we will be back for the 8th in a minute.
Keep it up.
The everyday person may not aspire to be a professional athlete or an Olympic athlete. You may just want to be the best person you can be. You just may want to sleep better. You may want to feel better. Thorne has many products that can support all of those things. So it's not just about performing or running faster or jumping higher. It's those little things that go into having a higher quality of life.
We are back here in the 8th end of the third draw of the Women's Junior National Championships. We just saw a big steal for Team Scheel to take a 4-point lead, and they did not hesitate and threw their first stone of the end right through the house. What do you think about that strategy there, Connor?
I think it's interesting. I think it's potentially a little bit early, but as we've been talking about all game, I think that fits in with the mindset that this Scheel team has about how to go about playing curling games. Keep things clean, keep rocks out of play. Well, if you're protecting a 4-point lead and you already play with not a lot of rocks in play,
just a little bit.
just throw it through, and now you don't have to worry about your rocks in play. Yeah.
With the 5-rock rule, it's a little trickier. I think before the 5-rock rule, I don't mind the play. With the 5-rock rule, so you suddenly give them a chance to throw three corner guards before you can take one out. Well, it'll be interesting to see what they do. They are throwing their second one through. Their third one, they also won't be able to throw a PL, so it'll be interesting to see if they throw that one through as well.
Yeah, I think that up 4 in the 10th
coming in or another guard?
I think you definitely throw it through, and I think there's an argument even to be made for up 3 in the 10th end. But with 3 ends to play, it is very difficult to see that working out. As it so happens, the Johnson team's gonna, I think, play the draw. I think I'd be tempted if I was them and I was playing against a team.
Yep, where? Straight! Gianna's rock. Has to crawl. Push. Whoa. I don't want it in front of that. That's good. look purple to you.
Freeze! Do you like that?
Like a tinted window.
Same weight!
They are able to make this freeze in a real good spot on this yellow rock. It's going to be a little bit of panic mode, I would imagine.
Hard, Gianna, push. Hard. Gotta go. Hard.
Great sweep by Team Johnson there. Does come up a couple inches shy, but really good job to drag that as far as they did.
Team Scheel looking at the hit and roll and potentially the double on this. That red. Okay, they were talking about the hit and roll, and they ended up deciding to pick it clean, and I think I like that more. Anytime they tried to hit and roll off that, the red was always going to jam on the yellow, and you're leaving 2 red rocks around, and that's a lonely yellow with no guards anywhere.
This is a good scoreboard play. You're up 4, make some of the red stones go away. You don't need to get too precise with this kind of shot. Perfectly executed there by Jordan Hine.
Same thing.
See that freeze attempt again by Team Johnson. Gianna Johnson here on it with her first.
Yeah, I would imagine this is going to be pretty close since they just threw it and that yellow rock has not moved.
Lily! Hard, straight! Hard! Where? No bounce. Gotta go for line. Hard line. Gotta go.
Right
hard
side
all the way.
Perfect, but just did curl a little bit more.
That curled a lot more than yours did.
At some point they will have to remove that yellow, but they are set up for 2, and they've got some chances to set up a 3.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of a precarious line that the Scheel team is walking right now. One little mistake somewhere and the Johnson team could make a shot and really put you in some trouble.
Wow. A little bit of an around the world there as they bounced off their own all the way across and over and bounced that red out into the open. Not quite what they called, but they'll take it, that's for sure.
That's where as a skip, you just look at your throw and be like, yeah, I called for that. I don't know what you were throwing, but that's what I was seeing.
Gianna Johnson does have a chance to draw now behind that corner. That yellow is behind the T-line.
Yep. Line.
Still a good opportunity for 2 for Team Johnson.
Take a look. Gotta go line. How's weight? Whoa. Take a look. Where? Yep. Stay with it.
Pretty close here.
Hard. All the way hard. Every inch hard.
Just a bit short of where they wanted to. It is second shot. And Scheel will go after it. There's a little bit of risk here. If you hit it too thin and jam right on the red, it could bounce back. But
your muscles are coming, or something. I don't know.
Too bad. Maybe they're calling for the double.
I didn't see. I thought they were just calling to peel it out through the hole. You don't necessarily need the double, and I think if you're playing for the double, you got to be really worried about jamming that red one into your own yellow.
Right in the light. He's like sitting right in the light.
I think if you just push this through the hole, let Johnson try to play the freeze, and then if you hit the open one, the most you're giving up is 2, and I think you're pretty okay with that if you're Team Scheel.
Soft beat. You're not supposed to come in on the jump beat.
executed there, right through the hole. No worries the whole way down. Great shot by Miranda Scheel there.
I think this again.
But we will
No,
see
you can't. I don't think you got any of it.
Allory
I like
come
coming
right
down to
down
it
to
again.
that yellow. Another freeze chance here.
Yeah, maybe a little more than you had.
And that was a really smart call, right? Like,
Just because.
don't try to do too much with it. Don't try to really go hard for the double and screw yourself over. You make that shot right there. No matter what Allory does on this, you can hit the open red, and at most, Team Johnson scores 2.
Just freeze on it though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just need a few more feet than her last one on this draw. They had the line down pretty well. Just get a little bit on the inside of nose here with this freeze. Looks like they like it out of her hand.
Whoa! Back 8. Back 4.
Has to go.
Maybe just a bit heavy.
Whoa.
Just doesn't
That really didn't move.
quite curl like they needed it to. The weight was pretty close, but
That's all right.
just came up a little bit under curl.
That
And we'll
really
leave
didn't move.
Miranda Scheel with an open hit here to sit 3.
Yeah, there's definitely been a couple rocks so far that just
My back hurts. Like there's like a knot in my
have
back.
not curled as much as the Johnson team has thought. Don't know if that's the sheet. I don't know if that's them just taking a little bit of plus broom.
Yeah, her first one did curl, so I don't know if there was an adjustment there or if just the weight difference made a bit of a difference too. But whatever it was, it ends up not quite in the right spot for them.
Really bad.
Miranda not too concerned with where her shooter ends up. They'd obviously like to stick it, but only real important thing here is make the red go away.
Great sweep there by Tessa Thurlow. Job done. Red is
Just hit and
removed, and
stick.
the yellow is sitting 3. So
Control.
Allory Johnson will have a open nose hit for
Yeah.
her 1. But a force here is job well done for Team Scheel.
So I guess that answers the question of whether or not you should throw your first couple of rocks through when you're up 4 in the 8th.
Control. Just hit and stick.
I'm sure somebody with a lot of data will be chasing us down, but we've got one data point, and I think it's pretty conclusive.
Control.
Yeah, out of all the games we've watched in the last 2.5 hours, 100% of the time, it works to throw the first 2 rocks through.
It's a great sample size.
Yeah. Got to be a little careful with this one. Looked like she might have pitched it on her release.
Hard! Yeah! Whoa!
Bailey
yeah!
Dadich on the sweep. We'll try to keep this on the nose.
Hard! All the way, all the way. Hard, you got it.
Great sweep by Vadich. Great shot by Allory Johnson. They do get their 1, and Scheel will take a 3-point lead into the 9th end here, and we will see you in a minute.
Twin Cities Orthopedics is ready to go with more doctors, specialty services, and convenient urgent care locations. Ready, set, TCO.
All right, we are back here for the 9th end with the score 9-6. Scheel over Johnson, and Scheel will have the hammer here in the 9th, so they'll be looking to keep it pretty clean. Blank's a great outcome for them. On the other hand, Johnson is looking to junk it up, and they'll start with a center guard from Lily Olsen to start off. And as you heard the reaction there from Connor, it does just slip in. And just a quick shout out to my co-host here, Connor Kaufman. It's awfully nice of him to take the time out of the week coaching to come up here and help out commentating. Great to have someone with a ton of knowledge of the field and of the game and a lot of experience in this event to join us up here.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Now we're going to get Lily hoping to keep this one out of the rings. Like you said, for Team Scheel here, there's a lot of results that are fine. I think they're playing for the blank, but any score for them is going to be good. Even if you give up a steal, it's not the end of the world. The big thing that I've always said in these situations on my own teams is no one scores more than one. That's us, that's them. One or none is the score that we're looking for in this end.
Yep, they're just going to be blasting. We'll see if this stone hangs on to the center line or if it stops. It will just stop and it will hang on to the center line, and so they can't move it because of the new no-tick rule. What do you think about playing with the no-tick rule so far this year, Connor?
I think it's great. I think it's really good for the sport. I think that it definitely has done, I think, what it was supposed to do. It definitely helps teams that don't have hammer have a little more chance to get into some games, especially when they're behind a little bit. It makes games more interesting towards the end of games. I get the argument against it. One of the main arguments I've heard against it is if you put in the work to be tied with the hammer in the last end, you deserve to be able to make 2 ticks and win the game kind of in 4 shots. But as somebody who watches a lot of curling and not just plays a lot of curling, that makes for some pretty boring final ends of games in really important situations. And I think it's also had a couple of unexpected effects where you see teams sometimes, if they have hammer but really need some points, I've seen a couple teams actually put those rocks on the center line and try to utilize that no-tick zone, because so many other teams, when they see corner guards, are using sort of the double strategy of ticking corner guards into the ring. So
Never.
I think it was a nice evolution for the sport.
Good
Yeah, I
job.
was a skeptic at first, but I do think it's done a lot of great things. And it does put some pressure on the leads to execute as well. You got to keep those guards on the center line, as it's on ice that's curling like this. That's not always the easiest thing to do. We'll see a peel attempt here from Tessa Thurlow. But I agree. I think one of the things that I've sort of come to think about curling is that we have a bit of a sort of tie game and an extra end problem, where a tie game shouldn't be a foregone conclusion. You shouldn't be tied with hammer and have a 90% chance of winning the game. I don't think that's a great fan experience. I don't think that's a great player experience, and especially in the extra ends. If you're playing overtime shouldn't be a 90-10 outcome. We should aim for overtime to be a bit closer to a coin flip. And so I think probably there are some rule changes needed to get closer to that. And this one's a great one to help get a little bit there. And it forces teams to not be tied. They gotta be up and leading to be in control of the game. And I think that's a good thing.
curl.
Exactly. I would completely agree. And I think we've seen the impacts of that just this season when you look at the winning percentages in last ends tied between this year and last year. I think it was something about like 15 to 20% is what the win percentages went down by if you're tied with hammer in the last end. And I think almost all of that is due to the no-tick zone. So that gets it a little closer. Like, the team with hammer should have an advantage, but more like a 65-35 advantage, not a 90-10, right?
Agreed. See a good hit there by Jordan Hine. There is still a center guard up for Team Johnson, and they'll take advantage of some stones in play and use take a freeze here. Little bump's an okay outcome to push that stone into the back of the house, but a freeze is a great result too.
Yeah, they're really, with thirds rocks here, they're really sort of grasping for anything they can use to keep their own red rocks in play, whether that's opponent stones, guards. They only have the one guard and it's pretty tight, so I like this call for a freeze here.
Has to be just here, top 8.
Force
Straight, hard. Curl, we'll tap.
That did kind of take off in a similar spot to where we saw Miranda Scheel a couple ends ago, so I don't know if there's a little bit of a spot there. So that did seem to surprise everybody there.
Could be one of those getting later in the game too. You get a lot of rocks down a path if they've thrown a lot of rocks down the center, especially with this Scheel team playing a lot of rocks in play in the forefoot. You're going to be throwing a lot of hits in between those sweep lines. So it could just be maybe getting just a little flat now that we get to the later parts of the end, and just checking up and going a little bit sideways there.
I'm lucky that we're at nationals right now.
We'll see Jordan Hine here with a double peel attempt.
You're gonna get penalty
Needs to
box.
curl for her. Just doesn't get the red. Does stick around after hitting her own. Just didn't quite curl for her there. Hung a little bit straight.
Yes.
And Allory Johnson will call for another freeze.
Yeah, and if you're the Johnson team, that's exactly what you want to see there. You need some help in this kind of situation, you know? And it's small stuff like that maybe it'll give you just enough of a spark to kind of make a shot and get into an end.
Hard!
See this one over curl a bit again.
Or raise it.
Just tap the red guard into the house.
Yeah, I think there might have been a spot there because the weight on that was not really bad, but
does look
over curled again.
He looks so stressed.
Watch, so I figured, I don't know, weird. What do you
Jordan
like?
Hine with
I mean,
another
we have this
double
run, but I
attempt.
don't really like it.
Needs to be nose to get rid of both of the reds. We'll get rid of one of the red, also lose the yellow, and give the Johnson rink a chance to draw towards an empty forefoot.
I don't like hitting that. I think first we draw, then maybe, or do we hit this? Or do we freeze on it?
Well, that is all of the options.
I don't like the freeze. It's hard. I don't think.
Draw,
just
hit,
draw
and
around?
freeze.
Do you like that?
Hit and roll.
Like here, it curls a lot.
So we'll see this same path that they've been throwing. We'll see if
watch
they
the takeoff.
can
The takeoff, like, out to the
manage
hog line.
through that spot and aim to land one in the forefoot. I might be tempted to come around the other way just because they've had a little trouble here, and it does look like you could draw
No, I mean, it's back
through
house.
the
I
gap
don't
between
really
those two
like
reds.
it. I think
but
maybe on my second
they're
one,
sticking with this side and aiming
be
for
ready
a
because
draw
after
right
the hog
behind
line,
that
it kind of
center
takes
guard.
off.
Yeah, really important for your sweepers here just to understand that you've lost a couple in this spot, so
4-0?
keep the brushes down. Make sure that
Okay,
if the
top
weight's
4.
close, it's okay to go ahead and kind of lean on it a little bit here. Make sure that any sort of flat spot you might be going over, you're going to be able to kind of power through.
And we heard Allory in the front end there have a good discussion
much of
about
an ad.
that before the shot.
Line. Hard, it's close. Hard line. Hard. Take a look. Hard
Trying
straight.
to keep this
hard.
past the guard. It will just over curl on them again. And again, the weight looked pretty close, but just over curling a little bit in that spot for them.
Yeah, they called her on to that one right out of her hand. I don't think
Yeah.
that was kind of that spot over curling. I think she might have just been a
That
little
line's
bit
just
tight.
weird.
I mean, you heard her right when she let go of it, telling that they had to go for the
Tight?
line.
The line, I think the line's weird too. Right? Isn't the line kind of weird? Like all three of ours did. It didn't? Okay, yeah. I don't think he has enough rotation on it.
And Miranda Scheel here will just hit the open one
Leaders always
and
take
sit
off
3.
when everyone else is to do.
Allory will then likely have to throw another draw, a little bit of a desperation draw,
Still air a little up, probably.
to try to get that steal of 1.
See the link right in the.
Yeah, definitely an all or nothing kind of end. This whole end's been an all or nothing end, but with very few guards and very few other rocks in play.
Whoa. Yep. Whoa. Whoa! Just go, and I'll like
This
rush.
one's got a curl, but it
That's
does look
fine.
like it will do enough to get rid of the red. Does the job.
Don't mind.
Yellow will sit 2, and
Then we have this.
we'll see what Allory calls here.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
What do you guys? How?
All of it. Oh. Oh, she's deciding.
Like there? Do you like that?
A little bit of a saving grace here for Allory is she can hit this rock and roll and be under a guard, which at the very least might make Miranda draw to the 8-foot against a point,
Yeah.
which I think you'd rather have than have her throw just an open hit with other yellows in the rings.
I'm a bit surprised she's not drawn around the center guard, but as you say, the little roll here does force Miranda to draw, which is certainly the goal.
Whoa! Never, never, never.
Not what you want to hear.
Push! Hard! Hard push! Hard piece!
This will get a little bit as Gianna takes a little bit of a tumble, but it does remove the yellow, and Miranda will have a draw for 2 here. 2 that we might see handshakes after if she's able to put this in the house.
Yep, friendly PSA to those watching at home. Ice is in fact slippery. Sometimes we forget that, spending so much time out here, but it catches all of us at one point.
Open draw here for Miranda Scheel.
Little.
Tessa Thurlow on the sweep, trying to
Oh,
just
you, Tess.
get any piece of the house.
Watch it. Watch it. It looks there.
I'm gonna screen record it first thing I do.
They are
Jordan
working.
comes out to help finish it up, but
Yeah.
makes no mistake, ends up in the rings.
And that is handshakes.
I'm not Gianna.
Team Scheel takes 2 to
Good
take an
game.
11-6
Good game.
victory over Johnson.
Good
That
game.
moves Team Scheel to 3-1 and solo first place here after 3 draws, and Team Johnson will be in second place at 2-1. That was a fun game. Thanks for joining me up here, Connor. Hopefully we see more of you this week, and we'll certainly see you behind the glass for Team A-Bear. We'll see all of you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for the 4th draw of,
Flopped on the
or
ground.
at 9 a.m. for the 4th draw of the men's
Right on the
game.
booty.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Yeah,
Wow.
I get to sleep in a little bit tonight after having being here pretty late for night practice after these games end. So
All right, well, 10 a.m. I'm glad that somebody knows what's going on here. See everybody tomorrow.